I really admire the career of Conan O'Brien. I think that he is wildly talented as someone who can play both a straight man and a silly man. His new travel show, Conan O'Brien Must Go, is very good. Conan Without Borders, I believe, is his other travel show. He has just made good stuff for a long time. I enjoy listening to the stuff he's doing on satellite radio. And he went on Hot Ones last week or 2 weeks ago and treated it as a promotional vehicle for all of his stuff and came with maximum preparation on trying to do a bit that took a very good show to another level in its season finale, because comically he had a Dr. Arroyo with him and he's eating these hot wings. And in the aftermath, Stugotz, his podcast is very popular. Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. He was asked, it's so relaxed, this podcast. He's so funny. He's 60 years old, and usually, Stugotz, I mean, that Pop-Tart movie, Seinfeld at 70, is making something outside of his comfort zone that's not nearly as good as the other stuff that Seinfeld has made, the other choices. The choices that Conan O'Brien is making later in his career are wise choices that feature his array of talent. He's a wildly talented human being. And here he is on his own podcast when describing Stugotz, because I thought he was playing a joke by just drinking straight from these hot sauce bottles. I thought maybe COVID had gotten his taste or something, because or he was drinking from bottles that were props, because I could not believe what he was doing. Didn't DJ Khaled quit after like 3 tastes on Hot Ones?
Hardly the bar.
I understand that it's not the bar, but Conan O'Brien was doing these very hot bottles, drinking straight from them, putting chicken wings in his pocket. And then he was asked afterward, because evidently none of it was fake, he was asked afterward about what the bathroom experience was like.
Oh, my God.
I was dealt with later.
How did it manifest itself?
I spot welded.
I mean,
an iron. I spot welded.
We're all thinking the same thing.
I spot welded. I wanted it to be
what
useful.
and how much did you?
How much did your butt hurt?
Here's what I decided to do.
And do you have butt taste buds?
Here's what I decided to do. I decided that I wanted, after I ingested all that, I wanted it to be useful. So I found a construction site where they were doing spot welding. And I went there and I said, gentlemen, if you want, I can weld these girders for you in about, I'm guessing about 15 minutes. You'll need to avert your eyes because I'll be dropping my pants. And they said, okay. And I said, I will need someone to stay behind and light it. And then we'll be all set to go. So there's a building in the Mid-Wilshire district that's going up. And I think I did about 65 rivets in the building. And people were driving by saying, Conan O'Brien, his pants are around his ankles. And I think fire is shooting out of his ass and he's welding a building. And here's the biggest problem. I had to join the union.
You guys did not find that as funny as I did.
I was.
I'm going to
tell you right now. When it started, I was very offended. Because anytime we come with toilet humor in here, Dan's like, what is this? You got to elevate the show. And then he comes with Conan O'Brien because he went to Harvard. And he wrote on The Simpsons and SNL. And he's got a podcast where he travels. Harvard's own Conan O'Brien starts talking about spot welding out of his ass. But then when he said he had to join the union, I was like, okay, that's a joke I could not come up with.
Rivets is a funny word.
65 of them. Yeah. That's hilarious.
So he's discussing it in a smarter way. That's why
the Harvard came out there. I was like, yeah.
Welding is a funny phrase as well. And again, he's got the added benefit of having drank straight from a fiery hot bottle of hot sauce that makes me curious about
We're not allowed to do that either
yeah,
here.
Exactly. Like it's fun to have people who are supportive of your endeavors. That's what I learned from that clip.
You feel like I haven't been supportive of your
He didn't
general
say you.
endeavors?
I mean,
Look, hit dog holler over here.
Jeez.
You feel like
D and Dan stands for defensive. I mean,
I haven't been supportive of your endeavors. That's a thing that you just said into a microphone.
I'm just saying, I marveled at his ability to tell a story without being interrupted and have the people around him actually just laugh at the story because it's funny and ridiculous, as opposed to being sent to a penalty box or something like that. I didn't see that happen. Maybe that happens on that show and I missed it. Maybe the clip kind of cut it off before they sent him.
2 minutes. Get
Oh,
out of
wow.
Here. Thank you. Go ahead and get out of here. Appreciate all your efforts here.
see you in 2.
In a couple of minutes, we will see you. I want to, Stugatz, I don't know if you've seen, I think this was Mike Florio was among those reporting that the Dallas Cowboys are growing tired of Micah Parsons, that he is wearing thin in Dallas because he's got his own podcast, his own personality. He's very interested in having his own platform and being himself. What are you laughing about?
Dude, God forbid. He has a personality.
That's right. Football doesn't tend to support those things by surrounding him with people who will just simply support him the way Amin Al-Hassan is supported around here. And he has gone, where is he? Is he in Japan on a tour when he is meeting this sumo wrestler, Stugatz, who is 17 years old? And I don't know how you think to expect this to go. What are you saying, Tony? What are you looking at?
How was that guy 17, dude? An absolute house.
Right.
But he is not as big as some of the sumo wrestlers.
He's
But
17. I mean,
I would
give him
think.
time.
Oh wow, he's
giving the
taunting.
baby,
he's
rock the
ta-
baby,
he's-
Russell
he's
Westbrook.
taunting
Oh, my God.
Micah Parsons by doing the rocking the baby, and Micah Parsons now wants to.
CJ Stroud needs to not be playing with sumo wrestlers. Like who?
Well, he's just
allowed
got
him
his
to-
shirt off. He's
No,
watching.
d-
He's
no,
watching.
No, he needs to not be doing
Someone's
any
got
of
the
that.
Texans over wins total up there.
He did push him out of the circle though.
That is correct.
Doesn't look like anyone
Again,
got hurt.
He's 17 though, so
Yeah.
Illegal move though. He grabbed his thing.
his pamper.
Whoa, his thing covers a lot of ground.
You gotta be specific there, buddy.
Covering a lot of ground there on the.
And no ground.
He was grabbing. What is that? It's not. What is that called? It's not a-
Pamper.
No, it's not un bumper. That's not it. That is not the correct sumo terminology. It is.
That's Cuban
Tony,
sumo.
it is.
Cuban
I mean-
sumo.
All
I'm
right.
bumping.
Well, thank you, Tony. Since you're bringing Cuban to the proceedings, let's go ahead and get to the top 5 because you've got a top 5 list. Top 5 list of things that Cuban people say when greeting someone whose name they can't remember.
Exactly.
But they're expected to remember their name, and so you have to be happy that you're seeing that person again, pretending like they're familiar, but faking like you know or remember their name.
100%.
So El Pamper is not correct there on
It's
what
not.
that's
It's a
called.
wordy title for a top
No,
5.
but it's
I
right.
mean,
It's the top 5 things that Cuban people say to someone they don't know the name of. So Stugatz is coming to me. I know I've seen him at a family party. I know him from somewhere. I can't put my finger on
And he
where I
doesn't
know
know
him
your
from.
name either.
Yeah.
He,
What's
well,
up?
Just
he doesn't know
Stugatz.
my name. Yes, sure, but I
What's
don't know
up,
his
Chief?
name
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay,
So
got it.
Big dog.
I have a pretty lengthy OLI. If you want, I can just kind of hammer them out and then we
Yes,
can do the
we'll
sound.
do that in just a second. But I would like, can you look this up for me, Jeremy, please? What is that called? It is not called a band.
Mawashi.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
Mawashi.
Okay, that I would have had a million guesses, and I would not have arrived there. I
At
would have
Mawashi?
arrived at El Pamper before the diaper
Thank
before
you.
that. All right, let's do OLI here. Things that Cuban people say when meeting someone whose name they can't
I
remember.
want that wrestler protecting my quarterback's blind side.
Why?
I mean,
The
Why
NFL
aren't
should go
there-
over there and
Yeah.
scout some of these.
Why aren't there more sumo wrestlers on the O line? I don't understand
that's a
it.
great question.
Why aren't more of them in front of a hocky net?
Also true.
Better question.
Don't worry about that until the Stanley Cup.
That's right,
thing.
exactly.
We told you about that.
OLI number 1, Acere. Even Acere? I don't know the guy's name, but Acere works for everything.
What is the literal translation of acere? I don't
Like
even
bro.
like bro.
Think
Okay.
like bro, yeah.
Bro like.
OLI number 2, my brother.
Also like bro.
Also
brother?
longer, my brother.
Mere-
My brother.
Okay.
That's what Chris Cody will often attempt to say.
But he'll throw an L in there, brother. He has this L. Yeah, he's got like an L thing to it. I don't know why.
Why would there be an L in there?
I agree.
Why
Dan.
is there
I
an
don't know.
R in DraftKings?
DraftKings?
He's Chris.
O-line number 3, Comandante. Dan, would you like to translate that one?
Yes, I mean, commander, like chief, like it's some sort of.
Who says commander though?
Sort of
They don't
ranking
know
officer.
I'm not totally sure. It is a ranking officer in the military of some sort.
Comandante.
I
Is it like
believe.
commendatore in The Sopranos?
What is comandante? Would be? It's not lieutenant.
Commander,
It's not general. It's what is comandante? It's like the
Communist
leader.
dictator.
Commandant.
Exactly,
It is the
basically.
commandant. Thank
Number
you.
4 O-line, Consorte.
Welcome back to me.
Number 5 O-line, Mijo o Mijito.
Yeah, but that's an old person.
It is,
saying
it is.
that.
But still,
What is it? Like,
Mijito, like little boy, like
My son.
my son, my guy.
My sonny.
how'd we get here?
O-line number 6, Tribilín.
People like when they go Spanish, Stugotz. You've learned so little Spanish
I'm
living
trying to
in
teach
South
you guys
Florida.
stuff,
I
Stu.
know.
See, yeah.
Damn.
Yes, he is.
Where's
is-
Pinga on the list?
I wouldn't call somebody that I don't know the name of Pingu. I
Okay.
mean that
Pingu.
weird. Whatever.
All right.
Another ranking officer, General.
General.
Generalissimo.
General.
Bobby Knight.
I've been called General before.
OLI number 7. León de la Selva.
Wow.
Billy, you have not been. I know you have not been to Versailles when somebody calls you León de la Selva, which translates to Lion of the Jungle.
Lion of the jungle. That's correct. Billy is not. Billy's not supporting you here, Tony.
That's okay,
There's
Dan.
Nothing surprising.
Does not
about
matter.
that.
Last OLI, another one for Billy.
Last OLI?
Yeah,
It's not a Team Coco production. So.
We've got 30 seconds.
I know. Last OLI, Caballo de Atila. My grandfather calls me that one. I think he doesn't know my name either. We'll rip through. We'll rip through
Well, we've got horse.
Attila's horse.
Attila's horse. Okay.
Caballo de Atila. I don't know.
You've got very little time left.
Number 5, Monstro.
Monster. Number 4,
Capitan. Staying with the generals.
Captain. Number 3,
Estrella.
Star. Number 2,
People.
self-explanatory. Number 1,
Jefe.
Oh!
Amin has some thoughts on the Kendrick Drake beef from the weekend. Kendrick Lamar has the top 2 spots on the Apple Music charts. Kind of a surprise, I thought, to see him sort of swamp in views and listening everything that Drake was doing this weekend, given Drake's general popularity. But David Dennis Jr., he's a senior writer for ESPN's Andscape. He's the author of the award-winning book called The Movement Made Us, A Father, a Son, and the Legacy of a Freedom Ride. And he's been writing about this beef all month. Thank you, David, for joining us. Take us through both the timeline, because Kendrick is crazy and he's prolific and it's just an avalanche of, I'm not going to lose this. Why would anybody ever try this against me? I'm just going to bury you in music. And so your thoughts here are what on how this is going over the weekend? Because a lot of people are talking about it. And not until the roast did it get swept from Amin's timeline because of how interested people are in all of this. And Bomani and others have pointed out that J. Cole was wise to lose the way he lost, just getting out instead of doing it the way that Drake is doing.
Well, he didn't lose. He just tapped out.
Well, that's losing.
No, not necessarily.
No, he said the beef was bigger than me. And
It's
stepped
not. It's not trying, Dan.
It is not trying,
Yeah,
and then
I'm familiar with
therefore losing. Yes.
So was Michael Jordan losing when he retired? Did he lose?
He didn't win.
He lost. According to you, retiring.
It's like losing in overtime in hockey.
2-0-2.
2-0-2. Thank you.
David, your thoughts as the expert on this thing.
Yeah, the timeline goes back about a decade, actually, which is like Kendrick Lamar has been wanting this feud for a very, very long time. Drake has been kind of like not, they've been sort of trading sort of subliminal barbs, and then it just hit the moment of no return a few weeks ago. Kendrick said, let's do this. Drake was ready and did not, we did not know exactly where things would go until Kendrick actually put out a full-fledged diss which he did with the song Euphoria. So Drake was kind of like, hey, you're short, you wear kid shoes, I make more money than you. And Kendrick Lamar came back and was like, I hate everything about you. I hate your clothes. I hate the way you talk. I hate your music. You have inappropriate relationships with children. Your family is like, not okay. You're not black. All these things that was like, okay, we have accelerated this to a level that we did not think it would go. Friday, we hit our climax where Drake released his song Family Matters with the video, and everybody's like, Drake has come back. And Kendrick Lamar, in a truly psychopathic move, released his song 10 minutes later and claimed that Drake had a 11-year-old child and spoke to his mother and all this insanity, and has just been piling on Drake in a way that nobody thought would happen. He's outmaneuvered Drake, out-rapped Drake, made more popular music. He has these songs are #1 on the charts, and he's seemingly beaten Drake into submission in a way that I did not think we would see.
And featured an album cover of things evidently stolen from Drake's father or from Drake himself to indicate that perhaps he has someone in Drake's camp because he's got Ozempic as a prescription. What did you make of all of that as an album cover?
Yeah, so Kendrick on Friday morning was, it was clear that Drake's music and the things that Drake was going to do were leaking out. People knew sort of what was coming. People had been hearing that Drake was going to have this song out, and Kendrick Lamar wanted everybody to know that he knows where it comes from. So he released his album cover with Drake's personal belongings, including Ozempic, which has been the real winner of this feud because Ozempic has been name checked in multiple songs. And now we have a rap beef that is about who's using BBLs and who's cheating on whom and who's doing these things that feels sort of less enjoyable than just I'm a better rapper than you are.
David, I'm an old man, so I come from an era where the diss track would come out and then we would dwell on it. And then maybe a few weeks later or even longer than that, the response would come out we dwell on that. And it was kind of a measured, you had space to really absorb what was going on. And Friday I tapped out. I was like, I just don't care anymore. It felt like people tweeting at each other as opposed to songs that were written and recorded in a studio with the purpose of of holding my attention. Am I just old, or is this a feeling that's shared with other people?
No, this is a legit thing. I mean, first of all, Drake started this bombardment, strategy when he did this with Meek Mill in 2015. He dropped a song, then he dropped another one called Back to Back right after, and that sort of snuffed Meek Mill out. But Friday admittedly got pretty uncomfortable. Drake was, saying these things about Kendrick, and Kendrick was saying these things about Drake and the family, and it just kind of felt nasty. And everybody was, a lot of people were over. My article was about the fact, I hope this ends really soon. However, Kendrick Lamar kind of brought us back. It was another strategic move with this party song called Not Like Us that he dropped on Saturday night in time for people to play it in LA in the clubs and play it in Cinco de Mayo, the biggest party day of the year. And people are dancing to the song about Drake and the issues that he has with Drake. And he kind of made it feel joyous again when it really was teetering on this really, really dark place. And this is a dark place that Drake actually tried to bring us back to last night in a really inconceived concession speech, it seems like.
Does Drake indeed have fake abs?
I don't know. I've never seen them. I've never caressed them myself, but that's been the thing that's been going on for a long time. The rumors that Drake has these fake abs. Pusha T, when he said Surgical Summer, was alluding to the fact that Drake has these abs. There was a time where Drake was very, very proud on social media, posting his abs, which, full disclosure, it doesn't seem like a bad investment. I wonder how much they are. As somebody who has a doughy figure, I wouldn't mind.
I'm with you. Yeah.
The other part about this is, I think most of these songs, beyond they're just happening too rapidly, are eminently forgettable. How long of a to give you an example? To me, the most memorable song in all of this is BBL Drizzy, which isn't even one of the two guys. It's that AI song, BBL. I can't stop singing that song. All these other songs are kind of okay, I see the point you're making at the other guy, but it's not. Does it have staying power to you?
I think Family Matters, Drake's song that he dropped on Friday, would have had staying power if Kendrick Lamar had not like nuked it by dropping his song right after. I do think we have some keepers. I do think Not Like Us is actually can be the song of the summer. Like it's about Drake, but it's actually a larger story about culture vultures and people sort of impeding into a hip hop culture who should not be there. I think this song could be like an actual hit beyond the feud.
If I was scoring it UFC style, I'd probably say 10-9 Kendrick right now. But I said it the other day. It feels like this is Mayweather versus Pacquiao 10 years too late, where it's like these two guys back then could have made something so much better musically, where now it's just we're kind of trading shots and then everybody's winning because the rising tide lifts all boats when it comes to streaming.
I think the thing about the Pacquiao Mayweather thing is what actually an allusion I made to in my piece. Like this feels like that, but they feel more closely to their prime than Pacquiao and Mayweather did. The problem I think here is that we've already seen Drake get knocked out. We saw Pusha T hit him with the definitive knockout blow. So it's not sort of much chipping away as we did then. But what I'm surprised by is I think this can actually have true damage to Drake's career. Like at the beginning of this, I thought Drake was Teflon. Yes, he may lose, but he is going to still make hits. But there's so much that Kendrick Lamar has unpacked here that it feels like this could actually do something to his career long term.
Is it more Kendrick's return on that, or is it that nobody in the music industry wants to work with him, right? His songs with Rick Ross were always bangers. His stuff with Future, his stuff with Metro, like all the things that he's usually going to when he wants to make these jams, all those guys are now out.
Yeah, they are, but Drake can make hits on his. I mean, Drake is just wakes up and makes a hit. You know, like especially in the streaming era, especially the way people do this. Like Drake just finds another area to like popularize. He goes to the UK and takes some of their sound. And Kendrick Lamar talked about he goes to Atlanta. He just keeps doing that, and he can always just make a hit. The problem is now Kendrick Lamar has put so much shade on what those hits look like, where they come from, who's actually writing these hits, who are you stealing from, who are you vulturing from, that kind of makes you question, you know, when the next Drake hit comes. And also the guy has serious issues with women, you know, like, and that was his fan base. And now that is all coming to light in a way that's going to be harmful.
His latest column is headlined, "The Kendrick Lamar and Drake feud is over," or at least it should be. It's at ESPN's Andscape, and you write in it, quote, "This is how rap feuds go, with women as props for male rappers to insult one another. And it's a trope that's as tiresome as it is unnecessary, childish and harmful for no reason. Rappers sling mud, reveal dark secrets, and go for the proverbial death blow, with women being both the nuclear bomb and the collateral damage." There are accusations of domestic violence in here. You mentioned pedophilia is being alleged here. What are we doing?
Yeah, like this is a thing that has always been in hip hop, and you know, with these feuds, it's like I'm going to get the dirt on you. Tupac in the 90s said, "Hey, I slept with Biggie's wife." Jay-Z said, "Hey, I slept with Nas's baby mama." Pusha T says, "Drake, you're hiding a child. You know, the mother of your child is, you know, slept with a bunch of people." And so that is now, for some reason, or it's been a prerequisite for a lot of people to have these feuds. You have to throw these women in there who have nothing to do with this, right? And we end up judging these women. So Drake says, "Hey, Kendrick Lamar, you beat your wife." Kendrick Lamar, this other guy who's a business partner, Dave Free, is the father of your children. Kendrick Lamar says, "Hey, Drake, you have pedophilic tendencies. You have people in your crew who, you know, have things with them with underage girls. You yourself send underage girls messages. You have a 11-year-old girl who you have not claimed." And it's just like, we don't have to do this. We can just do a thing where we say, "I'm better than you. I can rap better than you." And instead, these guys feign actual, you know, concern for these women that they don't seem to have. Like, Drake, if you have concerns about Kendrick Lamar beating on women, don't name drop Chris Brown at the beginning of your song. Kendrick Lamar, if you're worried about how women are treated, don't have Kodak Black on your albums. Don't pretend like you care when it's time to have a feud.
I'm surprised by this. We have 30 seconds left, but Stugatz has a question he wants to ask.
David, do you find it ridiculous that we're comparing Anthony Edwards to Michael Jordan?
I do not. But by
What?
the way that they look,
We have
I don't think Anthony Edwards. I'm expecting 3 songs from you by the end of the day.
COB.
David, thank you for being on with us. We appreciate it.
All right, thanks a lot.
We've talked, Stugotz, about these bullpen entrances since really the movie Major League with Charlie Sheen and Wild Thing coming out of the bullpen, throwing 100 miles an hour. A long time ago, Mariano Rivera used to come out of the bullpen to Enter Sandman by Metallica.
Did Major League start that? Or was it already a thing and then Major League did it?
The first time I remember a closer making his way to the mound in a way that was cool, it was Lee Smith of the Cubs. He would sleep throughout the game.
Nice.
And then just mosey to the mound in a way that was menacing because he threw hard. But at the time, he threw about 92 miles an hour.
Right.
Now these guys are doing an entirely different thing. And it does matter in terms of how it is that you're coming into the game in the ninth inning, what you do to the crowd, how hard you throw. Because until recently, the best one I've seen of any kind is Edwin Diaz of the Mets. When he came out to Timmy Trumpet, it was really Latin. It was cool to see in a Mets uniform.
And that was the beginning of the end for the Mets, if I'm not mistaken.
No,
right?
you're correct.
That is correct.
Like when Timmy Trumpet
And I
showed
warned
up.
them. I told him to stop doing it. He kept doing it. He wouldn't stop. I told him to stop. He didn't stop, and then the Mets collapsed.
Edwin Diaz also got hurt, but let's.
Timmy Trumpet's also from Austria.
Okay, but it is Latin music. It is not Latin music. It doesn't
It's
feel.
a horn, yeah.
But it doesn't
Thought
feel.
he was from Australia.
Yeah, Australia.
Australia, yeah.
Okay, put a fine.
Well then,
put a
why don't you
fine.
put another
fine.
shrimp on the bobby?
Yes. Austria. Austria.
Point is,
Australia.
it's not the DR.
That's a beautiful accent you have. New Jersey?
Understood. Timmy Trumpet is not Spanish. Timmy Trumpet as a name is very,
Timmy.
very American. Thank you, brother.
Timmy Trompeta.
Brother. How are you saying, brother?
Brother.
Brother. Excuse me.
That's how Chris Cody says it.
There's an L in there.
Let's hear this because I think we've got a competitor. I don't know if we can beat Edwin Diaz, but let's see Edwin Diaz first, and you tell me what you think about this closer entrance and the one I'm about to show you.
There he is, the pride and joy of Vienna. Oh, the Mets are on top of the world when this is happening.
No one's watched those videos on their phone.
All the recordings. They've been terrible ever since. The lyrics.
He looks Austrian.
Timmy Trumpet's like, oh, you thought the prices were too high at the Formula One, did you? You Americans.
He blew a save yesterday against Tampa.
What are these accents you're doing today?
No, he's right.
Credit,
He's
credit
right
to
on
you.
this.
It's not Obama, which is what most of your accents are. But today has been weird.
What are you talking about, William?
My cousin Michael not doing so well.
We don't support Amin around here.
No,
as
not
you
at
know.
all. If I were Conan, everyone would be laughing, chuckling it up.
The Twins have Jhoan Duran, and he throws Stugotz. It's not just that he throws 104, 105 miles an hour. He has a 101 mile an hour splitter. And when he comes into games in Minnesota, did Minnesota have a 12-game winning streak here recently? When he
They
comes,
did.
Yeah, they lost yesterday.
When he comes into games, those games are over. And look at what happens here when they turn off the lights. And all of those cameras that were filming Edwin Diaz that Billy says correctly, none of those people will ever look at that video again. All of these people are participating in him in the awe of we're winning this game, and now the dude who throws 105 is coming in.
Twins fans, break out their phones. And number 59 is ready for number 1 here at Target Field.
Atención chimoso, el que quiera perder su tiempo que me aconseje, que estoy en romo pero feo, y hoy hay que darme banda. Dame la boca, que hablamos en jangueo, ruta, que vivo este feo, el desacato, vive de la vida y disfruta.
Minneapolis, a hotbed for Hispanics.
Hit the sounder, please. Someone, for crying out loud, hit the goddamn sounder. What are we doing here?
What sounder do you want?
Look at me,
That sounder?
What's the sounder that you want?
Really? It wasn't a...
Chris Whittingham is a fancy lad.
I missed that one.
What's the one that you want?
Every shot of everybody in the stadium was just that sound over and over again.
Please correct me here, Billy, because you've said Austria and Australia, but I am learning for the first time that that's not a Hispanic song that Timmy Trumpet does. I thought that that was a song that was grabbing all of Hispanic, flavor. I did not think not only that person wasn't American or wasn't, Austrian or Australian. I thought that was a Latin song.
We call it appropriation, Mr. LeBatard. We have done it.
It grabbed me in all the Latin places, Dan.
Very good.
The mustache?
I'd like to.
I took a lot of videos this weekend, like those people took at the Mets game, where I don't know where I'm ever going to post. I'm not legally allowed to post this anywhere, so they're just going to be on my phone. But I felt like I had to do it. Like everyone else was doing it. So I just put up my phone also and filmed the end of the F1 race.
What happens if you post it somewhere illegally?
Jail. Yeah, jail.
Probably, yeah.
You don't want to find
jail.
out.
Yeah, straight to jail.
Yeah. No, I technically, it's against the media partnership agreement that we have. Tony doesn't care, but
They're
I would like
dorks.
to
Who cares? They're
go back
dorks.
to races because professionally it's a thing that I have to do. So I don't really want to get in trouble, even though I probably wouldn't.
Wait, what if you sent it to a third party, say, for instance, your friend Priya, and Priya posted
Priya
it?
could probably post it.
There you go.
And then you could retweet it.
Yeah.
So it's the same
Just
thing.
laundering your
Why?
videos
But
through
this
somebody
is
else.
also like an international incident, right? So like then
very
MI6
very
is
much so,
involved.
Mr. Billy.
Yeah.
Very much so.
I don't like that Twins entrance, by the way.
Why?
Because they tell you to turn your phone lights on. Like it's on the scoreboard. It says everybody turn on your phone. So it's like it feels a little fake.
You don't want instructions?
Exactly right. I want to feel a natural moment. I want it to happen.
Everyone does that now. Every in-stadium thing is like, turn your phone flashlights on.
They do it every third quarter break at the Miami Heat games
Yeah.
when they do the swag surf, which, as I pointed out, is incredibly outdated at this point. But they hold on tight.
A lot of places hand out those LED wristbands now too. That
That's fine.
automatically.
I like those.
That's
yeah.
fine. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's because, like Billy said, I don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
Right. Pull out your phone. My battery's already low.
Exactly.
I can't charge it.
My flashlight's probably already on because I'm a dumb idiot who put it in my back pocket and it's always on. Just kidding. I don't
Is
do that.
this what
That's
you're
so embarrassing.
objecting to? The idea that they have to, that they're telling you what to do? That
Well, no, that they're requiring me. Like, if we don't do it, if we're all worried about our phone batteries,
The bit doesn't
They're
work.
they're
Yeah.
forcing a
Right.
moment
Yeah.
that doesn't exist unless they're forcing it.
like I should see the lights start flickering,
And then
I'm
think,
like,
oh my gosh,
God.
let me turn on my phone. Have a
Something-
natural
Look
moment.
at this organic crowd
Exactly.
reaction. Wow.
I
I'm
think
part of that.
universally, the church bell gong thing, everybody likes that.
except for Marlins fans who remember Heath Bell. who would enter to the same sort of gonging
Did
because
he?
his name was Bell, wasn't it?
I have like a mental block with Heat
Yeah, I
Bell.
blocked all
like
that out.
everything that's
All of
happened.
it?
Yeah,
You just said it, and
all of it.
I don't remember it at all.
I don't remember him entering. I
mean, it makes sense, Bell.
I remember wanting him to leave.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Well,
He was helping you out. He was supporting you.
I was just supporting. What happened? Amin was just asking for support. I'm supporting Dan.
It does make sense that his name would be Bell, and then he would enter to the sound of a bell, and then he would ruin all of the Marlins' hopes by blowing 5 games in the first month of the season.
It's an unfair amount of pressure, that type of entrance, to put on a closer, is it not?
Unless he throws 105 and no one can hit him.
But you have to close the game. You can't come into that entrance and then blow a save.
You have to close the game whether you get the music or the lights anyway. It's still your job to close the game.
You think Mariano Rivera is walking out there getting nervous? Like, oh my God, they're playing that music again.
You think that like the stadium operators
But he
like, guys,
closed
we
all the
shouldn't play the
games."
music in case he blows this.
Let's not make him nervous.
Little smooth jazz as he enters.
I'm just saying, it's an unfair expectation. You come in with that type of music, that type of entrance, you have to get it done.
Well, yes.
Stugotz, we're not talking about like a little league like 8-year-old going onto the friggin' mound. Like this is professional baseball.
not Williamsport.
I mean,
This is how I know we've arrived at the end of the life of this show, when Stugotz has now become the protector of players. Like, guys, stop putting so much undue pressure on them. It's bad enough they got to close the game. You got to play that music too.
Can we think
I just
about
want
it?
him to have fun. I mean,
Turn off the lights. Turn off the lights.
Turn them on. Turn the lights back on.
I missed the lights that when you turned them off, it took 15 minutes for the stadium to get lit up
Yeah,
again.
what happened to that?
There used to be power outages by accident. You couldn't start a game for half an hour because the lights had to just turn on again.
And they would glow, and you would sometimes
And you hear the buzz.
You'd stare at it, and it's like, is it actually turning on, or am I just
Didn't that happen at the
imagining it?
Super Bowl like 10 years ago?
In New Orleans?
The power went out in a Ravens 49ers Super Bowl, yeah.
2012, right? It was the Beyonce one?
The Harbaugh
Yep,
one.
they-
the
they-
Harbaughs.
The Harbaugh.
And Beyonce.
And Beyonce. And also,
And
all right.
really, we remember it for Beyonce. At the time, it was probably the best halftime show.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju, at LeBatard Show. Do you remember 2012 Super Bowl for the Harbaughs or Beyonce?
The Ravens won it, so I blocked it out.
Who was it, Stugotz, if not Mariano Rivera, because Lee Smith didn't come into music, who was the first closer who added music to his entrance and was so dominating that the music was an accent that was formidable on the intimidation front? Because I don't have anyone before Mariano Rivera.
It was Sparky Lyle.
Oh, wow.
Stugotz, I talked to Dominique Foxworth this morning, who said our guest here, Drew Bledsoe, was the best of the athletes last night doing the comedy. It's high compliment. You don't expect to be better than the comedians, the professionals. I would assume that most people in that circumstance would be scared, no matter how confident they are. So Drew joins us now. Thank you, Drew, for joining us. When is the last time you were that scared doing anything?
I was a little nervous. I'm not gonna lie. But I did actually prepare. You know, I might do a lot of speaking in public and all that. But actually, I was a little bit prepared for that one last night. But yeah, I was nervous. You know, it's high stakes. There's some really funny people up there. But being the funniest athlete, I mean, that's kind of like being the tallest. Right? I mean, you know, not like I was taking down Nikki Glazer or anything.
Well, but I felt bad.
You took down Gronk.
I felt bad for I felt bad for Randy Moss and a bunch of people because the pressure and the expectation of funny when surrounded by those people, and you're not necessarily a public speaker used to being on television in front of millions of people and your friends. So I actually thought it was a terrible spot for you guys to be in. So to overcome it shows a measure of bravery. No lie.
Let's go put the comedians on the football field and see how they do, right? I think we would do better at comedy than they would do at football.
What were the things from last night that stayed with you?
You know, we're just talking about that. We're in the car right now with my brother and my buddy that were there last night, and we're on our way to go play golf with a bunch of the comedians. You know, some of it was so rapid fire and so fast that I kind of can't wait to go back and watch some of it. But Andrew Schultz closed the show, and he was just a killer. Nikki Glazer, man, her set. I told her last night after the show that she's like a Bond villain. You know, she's really pretty and she's just an absolute murderer when she gets up there. So she was fantastic. Gronk did a great job of being Gronk. You know, it's funny. We're sitting up there and I can look at the teleprompter, Dude, he was so far off script. I didn't know if he was ever going to come back. But he pulled it back in.
Let's play for the audience a couple of the jokes last night from Drew Bledsoe and just get his assessment on a little review on these jokes and if he thought he had done anything better than these jokes over the course of the evening. Go ahead and play that sound, please.
Buddy, you have more rings than I do, but I've experienced a couple things that you will never experience. The feeling of being the #1 overall draft pick in the NFL. And a 28th wedding anniversary. It was yesterday. Obviously, buddy, you got really used to not being touched, right? Just like the end of the marriage.
Look at him.
He's laughing
he's
at it. He's pleased with his performance.
Did you have any joke writing help, or did you handle some of that on your own?
Yeah, I'm sitting here next to my bro. Adam, say hi.
Hi.
Yeah, my bro, one of the funniest humans I know. He helped out, and then I'm gonna get in really, really big trouble for this, but I'm willing to wear it. The Giselle joke that actually came from my wife. Don't tell her I told you.
Wow.
But it was but the truth is, it was a replacement for a joke that I had written that was far worse. And she said, "No, you can't do that one." And so then she helped me write something that was a little more of a softball.
I want to hear that one so badly.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Yeah, no, we're not going there. She told me I couldn't say it, and then I really get in trouble if I actually told you the joke that she wouldn't let me say.
Did you write any of the jokes? I mean.
Yeah, it's mostly there was a lot of it was my material. The thing that I really appreciated was that I was hesitant to throw in like the wine plug stuff because like, hey, look, I'm not going to go up there and just shamelessly promote our winery, but the writers actually wrote the wine stuff in for me, which was great. So I appreciated that because it was more genuine because I wasn't shamelessly just trying to. Talk about our winery. It's called Double Back.
You can text us the joke. Do you think Tom Brady's?
No, man, it was really.
Do you think Tom Brady's gonna get remarried like tomorrow so he can attempt to have a 28th wedding anniversary just because you said he'll never have one?
Probably, yeah. Never bet against him. Yeah, that was one of Nikki Glazer's best bits was about Tom doing things that people said he couldn't do. And I'm not going to repeat what she said because it's not fit for radio. Yeah, I don't know, man. I hope he finds a good woman or man. There were a lot of gay jokes last night. So, where there's smoke, there's fire. Maybe he actually does like dudes. Who knows?
Too many gay jokes, some might argue. Sam J here had some good comedy. Let's see what we've got here from Sam J and get Drew's assessment here.
The only ring you have is the one Tom won for you. So your Super Bowl ring is just like my strap-on. Just because you wear it doesn't make it real. He's been cucking you for years. And yet here you sit. You like that, don't you, you sick? Tom, do us a favor and this dude's wife already and get it over with.
They came at you hard, Drew.
She's so mean. I have my feelings were hurt. My feelings were hurt.
It is.
The truth is though. Do you think my wife kind of had a crush on him? She invited him over for dinner like every 2 weeks, so she may have had a crush on him. I don't think they consummated the relationship, but I do think she kind of had a crush on him.
There are a lot of people here talking about the moment that was caught. You could probably answer this question directly and solve the case. They are saying that the moment was orchestrated when Tom Brady came up to Jeff Ross and said to him, "Cut that out with the massage jokes" at the expense of Bob Kraft. I thought it was too well acted. Unlike the cold open that you guys did on the show.
No, that was an authentic moment, man. We're sitting up there on the stage, so I can see the teleprompter. I can see what's scripted and what's not, and that was not scripted. Tom came up to make sure they weren't getting after our buddy RKK. He's a guy that both Tom and I have true and genuine affection for. I didn't think he was going to be there. I didn't know he was going to be there until just before the show last night, just specifically so they would stay out of that, stay out of some of that stuff with him. But no, that was not scripted. That was Tom actually genuinely coming to his defense.
There wasn't a lot that seemed off limits, though. That seemed to be the only thing that was off limits. Was there anything else off limits by rule?
Yeah, I mean, we talked earlier when we were doing like some of the pre-stuff. You can't go to the kids. And then I told him I wouldn't do any craft jokes. But other than that, man, everything was fair game.
Do you have a good story from the after party? Because Drew, I have to be honest, you sound like an after party right now. Like you had a night, didn't you?
We decided that we would go to the real after party last night, which was at the Comedy Store downtown with all the writers and comedians. And I'll just drop one name, and it's one of the only names that I would actually be willing to drop. But we sat there in a private setting and watched Dave Chappelle riff for about an hour and a half last night. So I do feel it this morning. It's definitely an after party, definitely an after party hangover, but it was worth staying up for. I mean, Dave Chappelle, in my opinion, probably certainly the greatest current living comedian, and honestly one of the greatest of all time. So man, we got to sit and riff with him last night, which was fun.
What could you tell us about watching Kraft and Belichick interact? You said you love Robert Kraft. I don't know how icy all that stuff is.
They had I don't know, probably a 15-minute conversation that nobody else got to listen in on back in the green room. Don't know what was said, but it was a pretty sincere 15 minutes where they had a good long conversation. There's great mutual respect there. Obviously, most successful combo of owner and head coach of all time. Obviously, Tom and the rest of that squad had a great. A lot to do with that, but no, there's still genuine respect there between those guys.
What can you tell us your feelings are on the Apple documentary about the dynasty?
I haven't watched that much of it. I did watch like a couple of the early episodes, mostly because my son called me and he goes, "Hey, Brewski had some nice things to say, so you should tune in and check that out." So I haven't watched the rest of it. But from what I understand, there was some of it that was not very kind to Belichick, and that's not deserved, man. He is and always will be one of the greatest coaches of all time. Anything step over the line last night for you? A lot of Aaron Hernandez jokes. Yeah, there were, which obviously, always never maybe all that great to make fun of somebody that's passed. But no, I mean, it's a roast. You're the only way that you do it wrong is if you don't go all the way, right? So I think when Tom signed up for this thing, he knew what he was getting into, and we went all the way there. But that's what it's supposed to be. And the only rule when you do one of those things, you can say whatever you want to say. It just has to be funny.
Drew, we have about 20 seconds here. Final question for you: Anthony Edwards being compared to Michael Jordan. Your thoughts? Completely ridiculous, right? I mean.
I think he's a very, very special basketball player.
Right.
And comparing him to Michael Jordan is a very flattering thing for him as a basketball player, and I'll just leave it at that.
Okay, good. Thank you.
All right. Ask that question all week. Drew, thank you for making the time. You do sound like the after party, sir.
I